What is that one gadget that you don't travel without?
Hmm, that's a that's a good one.
Who, according to you, is the most tech savvy player?
He's not gonna like it.
What happens to be the app that you use the most?
Oh, that's a tight one.
All of you join us every week as we talk about technology, gadgets, and a lot of other stuff. But this week's episode is special because we are joined by a very special person. He's led West Indies to 2 World Cup victories. He's known for expressing himself on and off the field and also for breaking millions of Indian hearts with that one catch in 2013. Please join me in welcoming two-time T20 World Cup winning captain, former West Indies captain Darren Sammy. Just look at you, Sammy. You are all still in the CPL mode wearing that St. Lucia jersey. How are you? How are you holding up?
I'm not too bad. Still a bit disappointed, but it's a tournament we as a Zoop family should be proud of. Especially when you go into a tournament like you underdogs and nobody gives you a chance to come out and play the brand of cricket that where we played. I think the owners and our sponsors are proud of us.
Yeah. But before that, the CPL tournament, there was a long break. There was 3 to 4 months of no cricket. Each cricket fan was getting restless. Everybody was so restless. What is it like for you players who were sitting at home? You used to of training every day, being in the field. How difficult was that phase?
It was a bit difficult, especially the early stages. Where I came from Pakistan, I had to do a 14-day quarantine
Yeah.
um, at home away from the kids and everything. And then it really kicks in. Every day you don't have the access to the gym, you don't have access to your trainer, you don't have access to the facilities, and then your whole life is you trying to find your fit because for so many years you've been used to doing things a certain way and have access to everything. But with that also came a blessing in disguise. For me, it was spending time with the family, being at home for an extended period of time. I was trying to figure out when was the last time I was home for over 6 months, and it's been over a decade, and that was the blessing in disguise. But after a while, you start finding ways. Like they say, when you go out in the middle, you first assess the conditions,
Yeah.
and then you decide what action you're going to take, and then you have to deliver. So for us and most sportsmen at home was, okay, assess what's needed. How am I going to use, what I have at home to keep myself fit, keep my brain active, keep my physical fitness in shape. And we came up with a way. A lot of interaction was how we are doing it right now. You call your trainer and you put a program together, and you start doing things virtually, sharing information. So that was what it was like, but it had it blessings as well.
And how long does it take to turn on the engine after such a long break? Because what we have seen in the IPL in the first 4 days,
Yes,
two injuries, mishmash
yeah,
for injuries,
it's
Ashwin got injured. And Dhoni, of
it's
all people, Mahendra Singh Dhoni has admitted that he was a bit rusty. So how difficult is it?
yes, it's very difficult because normally you would have a 2 3 weeks break, but in between you would have access to the facilities to keep active. But for some guys with no international, exposure for so long, I don't think any of them have really experienced that. No international exposure, no club exposure, and to come in a tournament such prestige as the IPL, and you've seen it, the result um, in guys getting injured, has been really high because there's no substitute for match training. Yes, you could go in the nets and go through your paces, but is the best type of training is in the match. And yes, we've had some exciting games in the IPL, but you could see some guys were really rusty, and the guys who are really on top of the game, like the Steve Smiths and the AB de Villiers, you could see the change, the difference in the mindset. You know, even MS Dhoni yesterday still look like his old self. You know, almost taking the game. And I thought the difference on that pitch was the last over bowled by Chennai Super Kings. But it takes a while. But if you mentally strong, the basics of the game don't leave you. And if I could refer to the CPL, what I saw, it was so difficult coming in and to play, and especially if the wickets are not conducive for stroke play. I found we found that the batters really struggled. It was easier for the bowlers to adjust, but the batters really struggled. And I guess going on into the tournament, you will see guys getting better when they spend more time in the middle.
Yeah, definitely. And there's one struggle which is happening on the field, and there's another struggle which is almost simultaneously happening off the field, where there's someone telling you all the time what to do, what not to do, what precautions to take, what guidelines to follow. How is that experience like? There's so much talks around this bio bubble as well.
Yes, it's from my experience, and in the bubble in Trinidad, it was the first couple days, the first 14 days, it felt like torture, to be honest. Mentally, you got to be strong. And I think what will come out of this situation, if life continues like that, is the need for a mental coach, probably a psychologist, whatever title you want to give them, because not everyone, because we are athletes and we perform at the top of our games, people tend to forget you are human as well. You do have to battle that mental toughness inside you, to be away from your family, in a bubble, away from the world, actually, until you step out on the cricket field. And there are so many protocols in place that you have to follow. It could take a toll on you mentally, and people telling you when to eat, what to eat, what time of the day to eat it, when you could go out there to the gym, and it's a whole different type of mentality. So I think a lot of attention now, when teams tour now, emphasis should be given to having, a mental coach or psychologist present on tour to help in those situations, because you never know when you confine to your room for instance, those who are to undergo the quarantine for the first 14 days, just these walls you see, you never know what goes on inside there, not having somebody present with you. And it's something we should pay close attention to.
Yeah. But Darren, the thing with cricket is that you watch a game, you might forget about it, you move on in life, and years later, when somebody strikes a conversation around that particular game, that particular incident, you tend to recall those visuals. It happened with me a lot of times. I remember watching Lance Klusener in the 1999 World Cup, scoring those runs. And I was a very young kid at that time, but since then I've revisited that knock a lot of times. I think one of those moments for this current generation would be your speech after the T20 World Cup final. And I've never seen a captain speak so passionately the way you did. And the things that you said for your country, for your men, it was absolutely amazing, unbelievable for most of us cricket fans. Take us through that day. What were the emotions? At what point did you decide that you are going to say these things? And was there any doubt that I should not be doing it? Anyone you turned to for advice in the team?
I think it was a culmination of a lot of things. What happened before the World Cup, what the team went through during the World Cup, and what we decided, how we would want our voice to be heard. I remember our conversation, the senior players, myself, around that time was, in order for us to make a statement and for people to listen, you have to win. So let's go out there and put all what is happening during the World Cup and what had happened before. Let's try to put it aside and focus on cricket and winning. And once we do that, and I said, when the day comes, I'll take care of it. But I wasn't sure, to be honest, as to how I was gonna say it. I didn't have a speech written. You know, I don't know what what NASA would have asked me for that to come out. I just know, you know, it was me speaking from my heart and me speaking from the experiences we had as a team. And I guess I'm very passionate about my sport. I think the way I've played the game, the way I've portrayed myself, I've always shown that I'm a total team player. Yeah. I've always put the needs of the team first before my personal needs, and I think the way I've played, like I said, is testimony to that. And to see what my men went through, and against all the odds, for us to achieve what we did on that night in Eden Gardens, you know, the speech told you all about it. It was the passion in me for my men, for the love of West Indies cricket, and what I think the future should be. It all came out in that World Cup speech, and it's something that I'm proud of. People tend to ask me, would I do it again? You know, knowing that it cost me my international career, and I said yes. You know, my mom has always told me, you know, you got to stand up for what you believe in. If you don't stand up for something, you will fall for anything. And I don't think I'm that type of person. No matter what the challenge is, the situation is, I think if there's an issue and I'm privy to it, and I think I'm gonna speak out about it.
But we have a very own, as Indian cricket fans, we have a very own Sammy moment when Sourav Ganguly decided to remove his T-shirt at the Lord's balcony. And
yeah, I remember that.
There was VVS Lakshman who famously recalls that he was trying to stop Ganguly from doing that. Did someone play Lakshman to you on that day?
No, actually, I don't think my teammates knew that this was the manner in which I would stand up for them. You know, I think I could. I know I remember when NASA asked me the question, and I said, "Are you sure you want me to tell you?" I could honestly hear in the background, you know, Chris Gill shouting, "The captain is about to speak." I don't know if it was in my psyche I heard it, but I could almost hear him on the stage when the guys waiting for me to bring the trophy. I could almost hear him telling the guys that. And I have never played with a West Indies team that was so focused on driven to win. I guess what happened, what we went through, again, I said, was simply motivation for us. But nobody knew that this was how I was gonna do it, you know. And like I said, it was a spur of the moment thing. I knew I wanted to tell the world that, you know, we won in spite of everything. And Nas got it out of me, and yeah, it just came out the way it did, in a passionate way.
And on the way to that World Cup, when you, of course, defeated India and you broke a lot of hearts, and you did that again before that, in fact, in 2013, in Mumbai, when you took that catch of Sachin Tendulkar, when he was probably heading towards a fine century in his last ever international inning. And we saw another side of yours on that day when you were down at your knees after taking that catch. Tell us about that. How was that moment?
Yeah, it was how would I say? Because I think in that match as well, I probably broke the record for the most, or equal the record for the most outfield catch in a test match. We were in India. We knew it was for Sachin's last series, and we all have. I think every cricketer has a lot of respect and admiration for what Sachin has done, not only for cricket in India, but the cricket in general, the way he played the game. I always draw reference to Sachin when I speak about, consistency, because what happened during that game, even though he had gotten out, the next day and India had a big lead, he probably wouldn't bat again, but he was in the nets the following day, hitting balls, knowing that he's retiring. So the way he played the game is admired, or was admired, by a lot of people. So I had a lot of respect for him. I always had discussions as a youngster going, Lara or Sachin. And, obviously Lara, was my idol, but the respect for him was tremendous, all over the world. And knowing that he was on his last match, the way he was batting, he was looking like a 20-year-old Sachin in his last test match. And I remember when I gave Nasim the honor around the ball, just to get a breakthrough, because he was batting really, really well. And me standing at first slip, when Nasim bowled that wide ball and he went for that cut, and the ball flew. I actually was trying to protect my face, to be honest, but my reflexes, I took a really sharp catch. But again, I did not plan to celebrate like that. It's just instinctively, once I caught the ball and I realized the magnitude, and I heard a pin, I could have heard a pin drop at the 1KD.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm part of history now. I will be associated with Sachin's last match, and I couldn't bring myself to celebrate at the moment, and I didn't even realize that I did it. It's after I saw people started, after the day's play, watching the highlights, and people started posting and tagging me on Twitter and Instagram, saying they loved the moment, that just that Darren didn't even celebrate. I was like, yeah, I didn't. Normally, I'm very vibrant with my celebrations, and taking a good catch like that. But it's a level of respect that I had for him, that mentally and psychologically, my brain couldn't bring my body to celebrate at that moment.
Yeah. And you said that the entire Wankhede stadium went silent. I'll tell you what, the entire country went silent at that point.
Yeah, they probably didn't like me at that moment either.
Darren, let's talk about technology for a while. Now, we have seen that technology has made deep inroads in cricket. We have huge support staffs traveling with teams, analyzing each and every bit of the game, every aspect of the opposition. Do you think how good it is, or do you think it makes the job more challenging for youngsters because they somewhat lose their natural way of playing because of all this deep analysis?
Everything has its pros and its cons. For me, what I could tell you, this year's CPL, I paid a lot more attention to the analysis and the data being collected by our analysts, Shankar out of the Kings 11, and I used that data, helped me to plan against my opposition. Before each match, I would speak to the analysts, speak with the coaching staff, and come up with a plan, the batsman's strength, their weaknesses, and it really helped me on the field as a captain in the decisions that I took out there and the matchups that I had. That's a positive for you on the opponent. Yeah. The downside to it is you could score 100 today and you announce yourself to the world, and then all that information will be in your opponent's hand, where they could dissect your technique, dissect your game, and plan against you. But as a professional, that's where the wanting to compete at the higher level, like the Virat Kohlis and Joe Roots and Kane Williamson, to come in every day and start bettering your game. So by the time your opponents plan against you, you already bettering that, that last fall that you had. And I think it's a great inclusion, to the game, knowing that you could find the information just like that, just call the analyst and you plan. And he doesn't have to be at the ground. You could just do what we're doing now, and he send the data to you and you analyze it. And I think that in itself is a plus for the game. Also, technology on the field of play. I think they should use it to help enhance the game. Because I was watching the Kings 11s. Kings 11's first game. Yeah. That's the team I support this year. Obviously, they own the St. Lucia Zouks franchise. And me and my son was watching the game. And he said, "Daddy, don't tell me that this one run will cost Kings 11." And I was like, "No, it's only 12 runs needed." And the guys are batting really well. And it did. Now, if you just use the technology, somebody said so-and-so to the umpire, "Hey, this is not really a short run," and you use it to your advantage, then all of that could have been avoided. But I guess to do that, you need to have the right laws in the game to allow that to happen. But I'm all for technology.
And because there have been more instances like this as well. I remember last year there was one no ball against RCB which wasn't given, and the on-field umpire just happened to miss it. So we have the technology, why not use it? Now I have a few questions for you, Darren, which I want like really quick answers to.
Sure.
First one is that, what is that one gadget that you don't travel without?
My phone.
Hang on. Then what happens to be the app that you use the most?
Oh, that's a tight one between WhatsApp and Instagram.
Okay.
50-50.
For the next two questions, what I want from you are the names of the players you have played with. You have to give me a name of one of the players you have played with for whatever question I'm going to ask now. The first one is that who, according to you, is the most tech-savvy player? It has to be someone you have played with, who knows in and out of all the tech.
That's a good one. I've not really paid close attention, but I would think some Little Bravo.
Oh.
Little Bravo would be one like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Darren Bravo, I think.
Okay. And who would be that one player who really struggles with it, who always needs someone to guide him through?
He's not gonna like it. Andrew Fletcher.
And any Indian player that you can recall?
No. Let me see my days at Sunrisers, Bangalore, and Kings 11. Who would I say?
I know for a fact that Ashish Nehra is one of them. For the longest time, he was using.
I didn't play with him.
Oh, he wasn't there.
But I didn't play with him at Sunrisers. I know at that time when I was at Sunrisers, Shika Dawan wasn't on Instagram and Facebook on these things. He didn't want that during that time.
Now he's very active. Now he's making a lot of.
Yeah, he's very, very active now.
His own social media platforms by now.
Maybe somebody taught him.
Yeah, could be Yuzvendra Chahal.
Yeah.
So, Darren, my last question to you is that when can we expect to see you again in the West Indies colours? Also, we've seen that you have taken up the coaching job as well very seriously. So what's next from Darren Sammy?
For sure, most likely you won't see me in West Indies colours. I'm closer, I could tell you, I'm closer to retirement than actually going on the cricket field. I could tell you that. Coaching, yes, I've most of the teams that I play for, even here at Kings 11, St. Lucia Zooks, you know, they want me. I've been playing that role anyways. You know, I'm the head coach of Peshawar Zalmi, out in Pakistan, and yeah, maybe that's some place I would venture in, because I guess especially in the T20 format with my experience and you know, my leadership qualities, I think it would transfer well into coaching franchise T20 leagues. But yeah, I have a big decision to make before the year is over on my career. You know, had we played in front of the fans this year, I probably would have bowed out in front of my St. Lucian people. You know, but yeah, retirement is right around the corner for me. That I could tell you.
So we hope to see you back on the cricket field in whatever form and responsibility that is, of course, be it as a player or as a coach. Thank you so much, Darren. You've been really generous with your time. Thank you for being with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.